Hi, I'm Dawn Damari, and you're listening to another episode of A Teaspoon of Healing, and you're also watching this on YouTube. Today, I have a guest with me, Marla Mervis-Hartmann. Marla is a TEDx speaker, coach, and a Reiki master, and she is the author of the book titled Befriend Yourself: Finding Freedom with Food and Peace with Your Body, which was released in October. So, Marla, do you mind introducing yourself briefly to our listeners?
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, Dawn, for having me to share this message of peace with body, body confidence, emotional eating. Um, the reason I do what I do is because I was able to heal from a very dysfunctional relationship with my body and my food. And for those of you who are listening who feel like, oh my gosh, I will never figure this out. I will never have control over my body. I will never have control over food. I'm the glimmer of hope because I was so in it. And I would say, Dawn, that my story isn't really one that's unique. I think a lot of women out there have a journey with their body and their food. And so I dabbled in everything. I dabbled in, emotional eating, which I feel like is the umbrella for binge eating and dieting, restricting. I over exercised. I was a exercise bulimic. I was so much control over my food and so much control over my body, and that took over my life. And it took over my life so much that I thought that if I fixed it, then I was going to be better. But what I realized is after one dark night of the soul after another one, that it actually had nothing to do with my body. It had nothing to do with my food. There was actually something deeper inside that needed to be healed. It was a way of being with myself, a way of caring for myself. The way that I coped with all of my emotions was to use food in one or my body in one way or another. And so as I peeled the onion into the deeper layers, I found an authentic relationship with my body and an authentic relationship with food. One that felt like freedom, one that feels like peace, one that feels the antithesis of what it did when I was in it, when I was really in it. So now, after years of struggling and then years of figuring it out, it hit me one day that like this is what I'm supposed to do. So all the tools that I've learned, all the things that I've learned are to help people to heal.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah. And you said you guide women through emotional eating, binge eating, and body image challenges. And yeah, like you had just mentioned, you had your own journey, like so many of us, overcoming disordered eating, negative body image, emotional eating. And as a registered dietitian, integrative and functional registered dietitian, but still a nutrition professional, of course, I'm exposed to a lot of women and men too who struggle with these issues. So I'm so glad we're having this conversation today. It's so important.
Yeah, and it's so interesting the work that you do, right? And so I've seen, so many people who come to me who are just trying to figure it out and they need someone to maybe help them with the food, help them with like, I don't even know what healthy is. I don't even know what my body needs. And that is something that I think that we give away our power so much to social media and to someone else telling us how to eat, when to eat. And for me, I had no idea how to figure that out for myself. And it was scary. It was scary because there's a layer of trust that we need to have with our bodies. And for someone like myself and a lot of people out there, there's such a betrayal. Like we
Mhm.
betray our bodies over and over again. We either give ourselves too much food, we give ourselves the food that is not okay. We don't nourish ourselves with rest and self
Mhm.
care. We're people pleasing. We're having trauma and just keep on going. We're not dealing with grief. All these things are a betrayal to our bodies. So now we're wanting to fix the food or eat well, and our body's like, I don't even know if this is safe because all these things that you've been doing to me this whole time haven't been okay. So now you're going to tell me that we're going to eat this or not eat that. Is this safe? And so it's a really slowing down to get to know ourselves and know our body and know where that fear is and know how we can heal from the inside.
Wonderful, yeah, and it's true, just knowing how to feel safe. I definitely, I'll probably talk about this a little bit later in the show. There is a balance that has to, working with clients that want to balance eating healthy or eating nutrient dense foods, but also loving their body at the same time, not going down that path, which is so easy to go down, especially with social media and regular media, of just this kind of hating our bodies while in the process, while still wanting, we still want to be healthy, but not hate our bodies. Appreciate everything our bodies can do for
Yeah, well, it's
us.
that's an interesting thing, right? Because a lot of people think if they come at their bodies with so much disdain and
Mhm.
disgust, and they
Yeah.
think, if I just, eat that healthy food and I can, I restrict, then I will love my body. Then I will feel free to be in my body. It doesn't work like that. The energy that we bring to our recovery, the energy we bring to our food, the energy we bring to our life is what we're going to end up with. So it's the whole package has to be one from self-compassion
Mhm.
and, okay, I'm not eating this food to punish myself because maybe I ate too much the day before, but because I love my body. Any kind of food that I any food that I wanted to get rid of because of my weight has never happened. So, for
Mhm.
example, I have a long relationship with chocolate. I mean, chocolate and
Me
I
too.
go way back. And I have tried my darndest over the years to stop eating chocolate, specifically because I wanted to lose weight, and
Mhm.
that never worked. And now at this point in my life, it is, I I have let go of a lot of chocolate, not all chocolate, but a lot of it because of my nervous system and because
Mhm.
it's too much for me.
Mhm.
And I'm
It's
not
very
doing it
stimulating.
because I'm trying to lose weight. I'm doing it because I actually care about myself. And that is not using willpower, that's using a different power. It's accessing a power of care and love that is inside rather than like I will white knuckle my food and make myself not eat the chocolate.
Mhm. Oh, yeah. I resonate with that too as a chocolate lover, and then also, I liked how you mentioned that you kind of not eating as much chocolate or only certain kinds of chocolate, but not because it's bad or because you wanna lose weight, but just because it is a, it's a stimulant. There's caffeine in it, and it for your nervous system. It's for your nervous system. So I like that. So, as, somebody who has worked with people who have struggled with emotional eating, I work with a lot of people who do struggle with that, and a lot of us have struggled with it. What is the first thing you do in your work to help someone who comes to you and says they have troubles with emotional eating?
Okay, that's a great question. Thank you for that. Okay, so let's break this down. So I mentioned this briefly, but I want to really spell it out. When we say emotional eating, what we want to think is emotional eating is an umbrella, and then underneath that is binge eating, overeating, boredom eating, restricting. It is emotional dieting as well. And so all of those things can happen. Night eating, stress eating, you can
Mhm,
put underneath that category of emotional eating. And so usually by the time someone comes to me, they have tried everything. They've tried to control, they've tried to get the food out of their house, and they've done everything that they can. And usually they're fine emotionally eating until they've gained weight. And then when they gain weight, now it's a problem.
mhm,
And the thing is it's normal. We all emotionally eat. We eat and it actually works when we are stressed out, especially if we haven't nourished ourselves, it grounds us. That is the job of food. It
mhm,
brings us pleasure. We celebrate with food. We do all these things. So we don't want to make that role of food bad. It's just when the food comes in the way of us actually caring for ourselves. So it's that I have a feeling and now I'm eating. I have a feeling, now I'm restricting. Now I'm creating a plan. Now I'm on Instagram figuring out how I can deal with this, you know, agitation, right? Sometimes people are just so agitated, they don't know what to do. And they come up into these crossroads of maybe even different seasons in their life where, oh, their kids are gone. And now they're, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do with myself.
Mhm.
I don't have that. They have a void, can often happen. There's a void, or there's grief, or there's just these underlying things that have been building up. And they're like, I don't know why I'm so stressed or agitated, but I am. And so the first thing that I want to do is spell this out, and then also look under the hood. Why are you emotionally eating? What are you eating over? What is it? And as you're like, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, And it's like, okay, that's what you're eating over. You're eating over that. Um, and so we really slow that down. Now, one of my specialties, Dawn, is I I can be able to see and pinpoint where the emotional eating, where the dysfunction, where it came from, because lots of these patterns are things that we have had for a really long time. And it doesn't take too much of a situation or a pattern or a wound that has us reach for food. So think about it as a child, right? We have a parent leave, even though they just walk out the room and we're feeling, oh my gosh, I was just deserted. And now food is there and that comforts us. And then we do it again, and then we do it again. And now that is our coping mechanism. So a lot of people need to track it back to its origin and begin to heal that moment so that they can look at the moment right now and be like, okay, no, no, I'm safe. This is actually really safe. But what happens is, because it's from an original event that was something that was never attended to, now, right here and now, it can feel even bigger because it's been building on itself. So we're looking for, why am I emotional? And then we're also looking at, how can I soothe myself right now? What can I do in this moment to soothe myself? And sometimes it's just, oh my gosh, I'm really upset because this happened earlier in the day. Or I find it can be very practical. Someone didn't nourish themselves, someone didn't sleep well. Someone said something sassy to them on the way to work, right? And now it's like they just need to be with that. So we're giving tools other than food. Which, the way I'm saying it seems like it's so easy. It's a process, and I
Yeah.
get that. It's not like I'm one of those people that are just like, "Just do this, just journal, and then it'll all go away." It doesn't work like that. I mean, it can, and there are these things that we can do, but it is a process. It's a process of unwinding these things and meeting ourselves with compassion.
I love that. I liked what you had brought up about the child and the parent leaves the room and you feel abandoned, but there's food there to comfort you. So
Yeah,
we learn to turn to food as comfort. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but then it can get to a point, I guess, when some people come to you. It looks like you had said, it's usually not a problem until someone notices that they gained weight from it. And then
exactly.
they're going to come to you and try to get help with it. Now, you had mentioned something interesting, and I think this is something that all of us do. And I know some of the clients I've worked with have mentioned this, is boredom eating. And we often associate emotional eating with maybe sadness or stress, but a lot of it comes from boredom. And so, what tools do you give people who are experiencing emotional eating, or I guess basically, what tools do you give people who are dealing with eating out of boredom?
Okay, so we saw a lot of this during COVID, right?
Mhm.
I think we
Yes.
all were like, I don't know, I was making tons of baked goods because we had time and we wanted some pleasure and we wanted that dopamine hit. So I think a lot of people can relate to that feeling of boredom. And it's in a world where we're so stimulated. We constantly have a phone, we have a computer, we have people. I mean, the phone is an addiction itself. It just is. It is a huge addiction.
Oh,
And
yes.
so what can we do? So we think about boredom, and boredom is low grade frustration, it is low
Mhm.
grade anger, it is that upset, and we need to name it. I'm bored right now. Ugh. I'm angry. I'm so annoyed. I need something. Sometimes it's just being like, "Ah, I need," like, what happens is people with emotional eating or, compulsive eating. I was more of a compulsive eater. I would feel something, I'd feel agitated, and then I just grab. And that's usually what happens with boredom eating. There's an agitation, there's a, "Ugh, I can't sit with myself. I can't sit with myself. What am I doing? There's nothing to do. There's nothing going on." And so what do we want? We want something to bring us pleasure. We want something to give us a little bit of a hit. Food is the easiest. Sugar is the easiest. Carbs are the easiest.
Mhm.
So lots of times it is just being aware of that. And now sometimes being aware of it, we still are gonna go and eat it, but it's like, "Oh, I notice when it's Sunday afternoon around this time, I start to get, this I get bored, and now I'm after the food." So, when we know ourselves and we become aware of our patterns, we can then make a different choice. But if we're doing it out of and we're not aware, then it's just gonna compulsively happen. So and also, like, for a lot of my clients, what I'll say is like, "Okay, so you're bored. You're bored, you're angry, move your body. Like, get
Mhm.
up, move your body." So we wanna fix it, we wanna put something in our body, move it, breathe
Mhm.
deeply, shake it out. There's something in there that wants to move. Now, sometimes we need to calm it down. So sometimes I need to just sit with myself and like calm myself down, do some meditation. But sometimes I need to get up and go for a walk and shake it out and move it. So ask your body, what do I need? What do I want right now? If I didn't give myself food, if I'm really not hungry and I know that I'm just going to grab something that's not going to feel good to me afterwards, and now I'm bored and now I'm dealing with the shame afterwards, what other choice can I make?
I like that. And I'm assuming that guilt is a big part of this. So after a binge or after just even boredom eating or any type of emotional
Mm.
eating, how do you help people get over the guilt that's inherent in this,
Yeah.
in emotional eating or boredom eating?
It's such a big one. It's so much bigger than it's such a big part of the healing journey. So after people ask me just what you asked, and they'll say, "How do I stop emotional eating? Please help me." And I'll say, "Okay, we don't go and control the food. They want to fix it over here. They want to control the food. They want to get it all set up so that then they don't have that binge." Actually, where we need to work is after the binge. After a client of mine has binged, and now they're in that shame, they're in that guilt cycle of it. That is where it changes everything. If they can come to that place and they can feel the guilt, they can feel the shame, but they bring in compassion. Compassion is really the name of the game. "Oh my gosh, I'm here again. Oh my gosh, I just binged. Oh my gosh, I feel so uncomfortable in my body. Okay, I'm here again. I'm still binge eating. I'm still emotional eating." And that is where compassion leads to curiosity. So we can be on that thread of shame and anger and upset, and it can be like, "I'm going to fix this." Right? I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna go. I'm okay. Tomorrow, I'm not gonna eat. I'm gonna go on a run after this food is digested. I'm gonna fix it. So, what we need to do, which is a higher vibration, is we need to have compassion for ourselves. And through compassion, we can get curious. But the compassion can bring us back to ourselves. And that's the most important thing, Don. We can't make decisions. We can, but I would highly, um, recommend against it to make any decision around your body, around anything when you're in a shame or guilt loop. Your
Okay.
only thing that you need to do when you're in shame and in guilt is bring yourself back to yourself. Get yourself back to a state of calm. Get yourself back into a state of peace. Get yourself back into a state of like, okay, I'm okay, empowerment. That is your goal. From this place, you can then make that plan. Okay, that was a lot on my body. What can I do to nourish myself? Okay, I'm going to go rest. I'm going to go place my hands on myself. My book, Dawn, is called
Mhm.
Befriend Yourself: Finding Freedom with Food and Peace with Your Body. And the whole concept of it is becoming our own best friend. So if a friend came to you and said, I can't believe it, I fill in the blank, or I just binged, what would your best friend do? Oh, I'm so, oh, that just must feel not good at all. I'm really feeling you. That sucks. And they would say, well, what do you need? Want some water? They would listen. They would
Yeah.
care about you. They wouldn't say, you're an idiot.
It's true. That's true.
And so the concept of becoming our own best friend to heal our relationship with our body and our food, I think allows us to take the concept of self-love, which can feel like, all right, what does that even mean? How do I even do that? It's such a big concept. Everyone has a friend. Everyone is a friend to someone, and everyone knows what a good friend feels like. And that's what we need to do for ourselves. And so in that moment of shame and guilt, that's where we need to turn up the valve on becoming of using friendship in that moment.
I really like that, becoming our own best friend and treating ourselves as we would treat one of our friends who called. We wouldn't beat them, say, "Oh my God, you're an idiot. Why did you do that? You better go on a run right now." We would never say that to a friend. So why do we say it to ourselves? I really like that. That's really cool. So yeah, thank you for that. I really like that about being your own best friend. That's really good advice. And so this is a little bit of a different topic, but it's similar. So in your book and also in your bio, and also what we've discussed at the beginning of this show, was about the negative and harmful body images, the body messages that we see in social media. And so, as a nutrition professional, I work with people who, of course, everybody's on social media now, and they're scrolling through that. And I know they're seeing a lot of these messages, and they do talk sometimes badly about their bodies. So, what advice would you give me, a nutrition professional, to help battle the harmful body messages that my clients are seeing on social media or in traditional media?
Yeah, what a great question. Okay, so what advice would I give you? So we hinted at this at the beginning.
Hmm.
So, in this world of let me go onto social media and give my power away to someone else, let me go onto social media and compare my body to someone else's body, which, by the way, sometimes they just take a whole bunch of pictures when they've gotten super thin for like a minute. And
Hmm.
now they're using the pictures for like years to come, right?
True, true.
It's so important, and I know that we know this. I know that part of our brain, we're smart. We know that what we're seeing is airbrushed. We know that it is not real, most of it, and yet it still somehow goes into these places of like, I'm not enough. I'm not okay. And I think it's important to realize that even the bodies that we think are the ideal, those people are likely still struggling. They're still like I was born into a body. I've been thin, I've been healthy. I have had a body where people are like, "Really, Marla? Like I don't even can I even take you serious? You wrote a book about this? Like you should be fine." I'm like, "Well, I wasn't. So don't tell me like because negative body image doesn't care what size you're in. And so I think it's important to know that if someone comes to you or someone comes to me, to really normalize this negative body image and to approach it from like, okay, we're not here to fix your body. I'm not here to give you food so that your body fits into some ideal beauty standard or even the ideal that you think with your mind because you've been brainwashed by everything out there that your body is supposed to look like, or
Mhm.
that you had a moment in time where you were controlling your food so much that you hit some moment where you hit that scale and that number, and now your whole life is trying to get back to that.
Mhm.
So I think it's so important to empower, your clients and empower my clients to be like, we're getting you to your authentic body, to the body that where you feel your body actually feels safe. Your body feels safe with the food. The body feels safe to be alive, and you're and when you hit that, it's you may look in the mirror and you may like, I don't necessarily like how I feel, but I feel good. Like I'm feeling really good. And so, as a nutritionist, I think I mean, there's a huge trust in that people are giving you,
Yes.
right? It's a huge trust, and it's really noticing the clients who want you to tell them what to eat.
Yes, that's for sure. I can
Just
relate
just
to
tell
that.
me, and people say
Yes.
it to me all the time, "Just tell me what to eat." I'm like,
No.
that's not my game.
Yeah,
We're here to
exactly.
empower you to figure out what you want to eat. Now, as a nutritionist, you actually work with people who maybe don't know or are trying to tweak some things and are dealing with health issues. I mean, that's a whole
Mhm.
other thing, right?
Yes.
As someone who's dealt with a lot of chronic health issues, that I've had to change what I've eaten, and that's not fun, especially if you've had an eating disorder. It
Mhm.
brings a lot of that up to have someone to be like, "It's okay, you're safe. It's okay, we're not doing this to lose weight." But that's not just here, it's not just in the mind, it's literally letting the body know that. So, I'm sure from what you do is it's such an opportunity to nourish through food, and yet the underlying healing is like you're safe with this food. And you're sovereign to choose the food that is good for you. We just have to get your body figuring that out, because sometimes by processed stuff and all the other stuff, like, the body's like, "Woo," trying to figure
Mhm.
it out, and
It's true.
it's craving things that it wouldn't normally crave. So it's a bit of a process, as you know.
Yes, for sure. And yeah, one of the things that can be challenging is helping people balance eating healthy. And sometimes even that word can be triggering for some
Oh,
people.
yeah.
Maybe we can even talk about that. Yeah, what? And it's I sometimes will use the word. I'll use the term nutrient dense, like eating a nutrient dense food versus a nutrient poor. I don't even usually say nutrient poor, but a nutrient dense food. This food is nutrient dense. Or trying to eat that. Yeah, the word healthy and it's funny, it shouldn't be something that should be triggering, but there's something triggering about it.
Well, because everyone has an idea of what healthy means.
Yes, that's
For
true.
the vegan, like, meat is not healthy.
Mhm.
The carnivore, like, meat it's protein, and
Right.
everyone has an opinion about
Yep.
what is healthy, and the only opinion we need to care about is what our body the opinion of our body. And as we said, that takes some time. And so for someone who's a restrictor, I I can have a meal that's healthy, but it may not be healthy for my brain. And
Mhm.
for this part, so I can make a beautiful, gorgeous salad, and it's like, "Oh, that's so healthy," but it doesn't have enough I need a little pleasure in there. It
Mhm.
needs a little something, and and that is healthy for me, because if I don't get that, like, that like, "Ugh," or that, flavor in my mouth, I'm now looking for it later. And now I'm
Yes.
choosing something that's not good, right? So when we
Yes.
think about the word healthy, we're not just thinking about the body, we're thinking about that safety. We're thinking about what the nervous system wants, because sometimes healthy is going for an ice cream because that's life and that's what feels
Yes.
healthy. To have a life that's full and not in these boundaries. I don't even say boundaries, these walls that we create with food that we can't live our lives.
Yes, that's a big, big part of it. That's,
Yeah.
one of the things is, yeah, helping people heal their relationship with food. I do that too, but also being able to let them recognize it's okay. You have to be able to live your life
Oh, yeah.
balanced. Now, I guess if you're a competitive athlete, I don't, deal with any of those, or bodybuilders. There might be specific restrictions, like you probably can't do a lot, when you're competing or something like this. But for most people, or for people with specific, of course, conditions where they have to avoid specific foods, if you can't have if you're celiac, you're not going to want to have gluten because you're not going to feel you're not going to feel good.
You're not gonna
But
feel
in
good.
general, as long as you're not eating something that is harmful to you based on your medical condition or for a specific profession. Um, yeah, balancing that, wanting to eat nutrient dense foods, wanting to eat foods that are um, the right foods for your condition, like you said, healing a gut condition, something like this. Balancing that with life, right?
With
Food is
love.
also a source of joy. It's a source of, sharing a meal with our friends and our family. And that's not always easy to do. It's not always easy
No.
for me to convey to them either that it's okay. It's okay. You also need to be able to enjoy your life.
Right, because I think people will go down the road of restriction, and then they'll go down the road of the screw it, the F it's, the I'm gonna eat whatever I want, right? Because they can't keep up the the restriction for too long. So there's like that black and white. I'm either dieting or I'm off to the races eating things that I know I don't really wanna eat or I know my body doesn't want. And what I think we both resonate with is that there's a third road, and there's
Mhm.
a road that it can take a little bit longer to figure it out, but there's a road where there's peace. There's a road where there is balance. And for a lot of people, they don't trust themselves in that space. Like, if I eat this food, I don't know if I can trust myself around that. And
Mhm.
so there's a process of finding trust with that food or trusting your body that maybe it isn't the right food for you, but that's comes from a different place rather than I'm afraid of this food, so I'm just going to restrict it because I don't want to gain weight and I'm like white knuckling. It's a whole other process of trusting and actually being at peace with food.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the goal, is being able to be at peace with food. And it's actually really difficult. It sounds really simple, but with our culture and just, our upbringing, it's not easy to get there. It's definitely not easy. Now, we'll talk a little about your book. Your book, and it's called Befriend Yourself: Finding Freedom with Food and Peace with Your Body. And that was released in October. Yeah, just tell me a little bit about what inspired you to write the book, and where can they get it?
Yeah, so I was inspired to write this because I think books are just so powerful, right? And for me, it was a powerful experience to write the book because I got to even realize what my healing was, like how I healed my relationship with my body and food was by becoming my own best friend. And how I teach my clients is to teach them to friend themselves, to understand that idea of friendship. So the book is my story, a lot of my clients' story. It's like self-help memoir, but it's raw, it's real. I've had so many people say to me, I resonate so much with your book. And I'm like, yeah, so many people do. Like they hear their story inside of my story. And so it's not about someone else. It's like they're seeing their word. They're seeing their experience and getting it. And so I think it's here to teach people in a really raw and open and easy way. And I'm just thrilled because I'm also getting feedback on it. Like when I'm reading it, it feels like my body is getting it. Like I'm reading the words, but like the information is going into my body. And I'm like, oh, that's exactly what I
I
want.
love that.
That's exactly what I want. So, yes, for anyone who wants to check that out, of course, it's on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, all the places. And if you get it and then you go back to my website, you'll see where you can put in the order number, and then you can get my Body Compassion Collective course, which is usually a bunch of money, but you can get it for free. So,
Oh, cool.
yeah.
Yeah. So, and what is your website? How can people get in touch with you to work with you, or if they've bought the book and they want to get that little
Yeah.
freebie?
So my website is loveyourbodyloveyourself.com. You're going to find everything there. You're going to find my Instagram, which is Love Your Body, Love Yourself Always. My book you can find there. I also have, we've been talking a lot about emotional eating. As soon as you go there, you'll get the pop up for my free course, Breaking the Cycle of Emotional Eating. And you're going to hear a lot of what we talked about, but in greater detail. And this book is, I mean, this course is, it's free, but I give a lot of really good information. So I think that it's a great place to start. And then, of course, you can always reach out to me and just ask a question. You know, hit me up on Instagram. I'm dealing with this little bit thing with my food, or this is showing up for me. Can you give me, some suggestions? I think it's important to stay in touch with people and to realize that we're not alone in this process.
You're right. That's really important. It's helping people not feel that they're alone. Because a lot of times we do. We feel that everybody does, and when they realize that they're not, it's really it just helps people so much. And thank you for your website. So it's loveyourbodyloveyourself.com
Yes.
to get there. Well, thank you, Marla, for joining me on the show today. It was really fun to talk to you, and I really I learned a lot too that I can take with me for my job and for what I do. And yeah, I'm gonna check out your website as well. And thank you.
Thank you, Dawn, for having me. And thank you to everyone who's listening still. Yeah, very, very grateful.
Okay, well, I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.